that over there. Mute that here in a second. Look at all y'all joining in here. Done redirecting to YouTube. And next second there. Mute that. Put it on speaker view. And hit record. And we're live and ready. Good Lord. Who'd have thunk a farm boy from Ohio would do that? Good morning, everybody. It is February 5th. It is a Wednesday morning, a chilly morning here in Dallas, 33 degrees. Hope everybody's having a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful morning. As we get started here this morning, go ahead and send out your 3 messages of gratitude, of joy, of love, of thankfulness, of awareness, of something. Send out a few messages to those people you really enjoy. I got some messages yesterday. I had some conversations via Instagram chat with a couple of folks who said they sent out some messages, and it was pretty amazing to see the comments that came back. And that was just, they shared a couple of the reply comments of how it really made somebody's day. It was the perfect timing. It was something that they really, really needed at that time, and it made a huge difference in their day. So these things matter. The small things like that matter. If you're new to the call, if you're up early and new to the call, type an N in the chat. We'd love to send you some hearts and welcome. And we appreciate you for being here. We appreciate you for listening to somebody. Well, stay. Thanks for being here. Jordan, great to have you here. Awesome. Yeah. Latoya's first time here. You get a Z-snap on that one. Yeah, girl. Did I just do that? I hope nobody caught that on camera. So, with that being said, welcome. Great to have you all here. Send out your 3 messages. And when your intention gets into those messages, it'll be amazing some of the responses that you get. So that being said, for those of you that are new to the call, good morning. My name is Sean Murphy. I'm a loud shirt kind of guy. I enjoy doing these calls. We've been doing them since December 18th, 2018. It all started with me getting frustrated one day and saying enough is enough. I can't complain anymore unless you're going to do something. So I decided to do something. I decided to get out of my own effing way. And at the time last year, that's what these calls were. That was the name of these calls. Get out of your effing way, where the F stood for fatigued, frustrated, fascinated, or possibly the F we all think it was. And what I realized over the course of the last year is that there was a lot of people who wouldn't get on the call, who wouldn't venture into the call, whose curiosity wasn't strong enough to get them over the particular name of the call. So December of this year, on just about the 1-year anniversary, I just decided to call it the Daily Awakening Call. So you've been on that. We've done 348 episodes. We've done probably more than that. Rob Cardonis, RC, who's on here, was kind enough to keep track of them a lot better than I did for the longest time. So he would remind us when we would have little moments of icons, right? 250, 300, all of these different numbers. So I'm guessing we're somewhere around 348. These are pushed live to YouTube for the most part when this farm boy can remember. And what we do is we have conversations about awakening. And today we're gonna start off with conversations. We're gonna start off with help seats. I don't like to call them hot seats because nobody likes to get hot in a hot seat. It's already tough enough having a conversation in front of your peers. But I want you to sell me the dream. I don't want you to mention your company name. I don't want you to mention your company product, although you could, meaning mention it in generic. You can't use any of your company nomenclature. So we could do it one of 2 ways. We could do it where you try to pitch me the dream on network marketing, the dream of taking care of myself, or we can deal with some objections you're currently having, and I can maybe possibly give you some ideas around how to help with that. Listen, everything that I say here is my opinion, so that and 25 cents don't get you a whole lot in this world. They're just thoughts or experiences that I have. I'm a 3-time Amazon #1 bestseller. I've stood on stage in 30 countries around the world. I've been vice president of a $200 million a year network marketing company. I work with CEOs in Fortune 100 network marketing companies. I work with startup companies. I've worked with heads of state around the world, from Slovenia to Mexico, to heads of state, individual states here in the United States. All of that to say, everybody's looking for help with their story. And that's what these calls were designed to do. To get out of your own way is to help you come up with a better story. What keeps you stuck is your story. What gets you motivated is the story. What gets you inspired is a story. What if we were to take some inspirational stories that you already have and use them to your benefit? So what I want you to think about as we go through this call this morning is I want you to think about, how do you sell me on working with you? Yeah, that one might get you. How do you sell me on working with you? What's the reasons that somebody would want to go to work with you? So if you'd like to ask some questions or start down that path, let's go ahead and raise your hand, and we'll have a conversation. I see RC's unmuted. I'm not sure if RC, good morning. Did you want to share something, brother?
Good morning. No, for some reason it all of a sudden just always doesn't mute itself automatically, so I got to figure that out.
Okay.
Good morning,
no
everybody.
Worries.
Love
and
you.
Listen, it's because we need to hear your greatness, dude.
Appreciate you.
And good morning to those of you that have just recently joined us. Make sure you go ahead and please, for me, send out your 3 messages. It makes the world a better place for me when you send out your 3 messages. It probably will make the world a better place for you too. But I'm just kind of selfish in my own way, self-full in my own way. I'd like more smiles in the world. Hey, good morning, Trey. You got your hand raised. Let's go to Trey on line 1.
Good morning, Sean. How y'all doing?
Outstanding.
Awesome. So right now I'm actually I finally started, profiting from my trading.
Okay.
And I'm in the process of building this dynasty multi-million market business here through IML. And right now in Virginia, our trading sources are so scarce that it's the perfect time, but I don't want to not necessarily say frighten people. I don't want to have people worried about the outcome when not pitch them, but when I present the opportunity to them. So
Right.
What is a good way that I can do it with knowledge of pretty much being able to not read a person, but understand a person's worries when they start asking follow-up questions, like, they need more information, they think it's a scam, they seem, people get scammed back and forth off of not our product, but off of products such as what we do. And I don't want to force people, I don't want to preach to people or Bible thump people into this. I just want them to be able to see that what I went through, what I've had to endure before I could get to the point of profit, and that it is an opportunity to grow not only your finances, but your mind and your spirit and your body.
So when you say resources are scarce, is that trading resources or resources for people to advance in the local market, being job opportunities or income opportunities? What was
trading okay. Opportunities for the IML market?
Okay, so the other area, so there's 6 areas that people will spend their life in, right?
Yes, sir.
Depending upon if they're spiritual. So there's finance, there's family, there's family, finance, family, society, mind, body, spirit. So if the finances opportunity is a little less than good, if it's average, then it needs to be part of the community. What's the benefit of joining the community, being part of the community? What's the benefit of advancement? What's it going to take for people to build a business outside of, did you say Virginia, Trey?
Yes, sir.
So outside of Virginia. So a couple of things I would have conversations with people about is, In your daily trek, in your daily efforts, in your daily walks, have you ever thought about having an opportunity that allows you to grow outside of the state of Virginia? So go ahead and role play with me. You can be negative Nelly if you want to, and you can, since you're the one getting hit with the objections, you probably know them all. You probably know them all. So if you want, so hey,
let's do it.
One of the things, Trey, that I do on a regular basis is I find people who are ready, willing, and able. They're ready to do something different to advance their lifestyle. They're willing to learn some new things, and they actually have the tenacity or the capability right now to get started. Would you know anybody like that?
Yes, I do. Myself.
Okay. So before we get started, Trey, would it be okay if I asked you 3 questions?
Absolutely.
Do I have your permission? Listen, and I know these are going to sound weird. They're going to sound weird, I promise you. But wouldn't weird be good if you're looking for something that's going to work?
Absolutely.
Because the normal that you've heard, the normal that you hear on a daily basis might not be getting you as fast as you want to go towards your goals. Would that be a fair statement?
Very fair.
So if you're okay with having a little bit of a weird conversation, here we go. Do I have your permission to help?
You do.
Now listen, guess what you always get to say? Your answer in any part of a conversation or a question can always be what? Can always be no.
Correct.
So are you okay with saying no to things?
Yes, I am.
Well, you didn't say no. So here's the next question. Do I have your permission to make you feel just a little bit uncomfortable? Now, you may feel totally uncomfortable. It wasn't meant that way. Do I have your permission to make you feel just a little bit uncomfortable?
Yes, you do.
Now, here's why.
Yes, you do.
Here's why it's okay for you to feel a little uncomfortable, because we're going to be doing something different. Now, you may not want to do any of this, but our dialogue is going to be different than you normally hear. So I hope that excites you when you hear it, because it means this might be a solution that will work. Third question is can I take you out of that uncomfortable feeling? If I do make you uncomfortable, I promise before we leave here today in this dialogue, that when you leave here, you'll feel better than when we sat down. Would that be okay?
Yes, that would be wonderful.
Cool. So you understand your situation better than I do. And rather than me try to argue with you through objections and conversations, do me a favor, Trey. Tell me why we're here.
We are here to make money.
Now, this is you as the prospect. This is you as the prospect.
Yes, sir.
So we're here to
sir.
make money. Do you have an idea how much money would be worth your... this conversation then is going to have a dollar amount associated with it. You're not paying me for it. You're not paying me for it, but we are going to have a dialogue about money, but you are paying for it with your time. So when we get done with this conversation, you're going to want to hear that there's a blueprint in place that would allow you to make how much extra money a month?
Let's say $3,333 a month.
Okay. So right now, are you currently employed?
Yes, sir.
Is there any way you could go to your boss today and ask them for $3,333 increase in your pay next month?
Successfully, no.
No. Excellent answer. Excellent answer. So what if there was a successful model that in 3 months, 4 months would actually kick in and do that? Would you want to hear about it?
I do want to hear about it, as well as what it takes to get into it. Okay.
So, well, what does it take to get $3,300 extra in your job? What would it take to get into that?
At $300 a week, that would take about 4 months of 40-hour weeks.
Okay. So that being said, would you want to get into that?
Not excitedly, no, sir.
No. So when you ask me what is it going to cost to get into this, why do you ask me what it's going to cost to get into it?
Because I worry if I'm wasting my time or not.
Excellent. So let's just cut to the chase. And if I could introduce you to, how many people would you like me to introduce to you that are making the amount of money you're looking for on a monthly basis, so that you could ask them the questions? Because right now I'm not there. I'm on my way there, but I'm not there. So would it be okay if I introduced you to how many people would you like to speak to that are making those levels of income that would make you feel a little bit more comfortable about this conversation?
Well, 21 is a number of days that it takes to create habits. Let's say 21 people.
Okay, so just to be clear, the 21 days to form a habit, it's a false. It takes 21 days for you to focus on a habit. It takes a year for it to become ingrained. So would you be willing to spend part-time a year to figure out and to create a residual income of $3,300 a month for the rest of your life?
I would say yes, just because it's the cliche answer. But
Okay.
honestly, me being the prospect, I would like to see it in well under a year time.
Excellent. Could you get a raise of $3,300 a month in the next year in your job?
There's nothing I can't do. I don't see it happening very very realistically.
So then why would you keep working if there's no opportunity there? Because it's absolutely what you need to do to keep food on the table. Wouldn't that be fair?
Yes.
So here's the reality. You're asking me for a pie in the sky kind of dream. You're asking me for the ultimate of ultimates. And I don't know if you have the ultimate of ultimates willpower. So I'm going to ask you to quit putting pressure on the opportunity when reality says there's certain rules that need to be followed. Would that be okay to say?
Yes, sir.
I know that sounds tough. Maybe that's question number 2. Remember question number 2?
Yes, sir.
A little uncomfortable.
But I also remember question number 3, so I can't wait.
Exactly. We're having a business conversation. And guess what? Guess what your ultimate answer can always be?
Was that no?
Exactly. So I don't want you to feel pressure that I'm going to trick you into something. You're smart enough to know right from wrong. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, sir.
I don't want you to keep looking at what I'm offering to you when you can't do it in what you're currently doing. Because it would be too easy for me to sit here and say, well, you've got the wrong job if you can't go get a $3,300 a month pay raise. You follow me on this?
Yes, sir.
So what I am saying, it is possible here. You're saying it's probably not even possible there. So if there's an ounce of possibility here, it might make sense to investigate it more, wouldn't it? So what I'll do is I'll introduce you to 3 or 4 people to see if those 3 or 4 people make you feel comfortable. Then if that works, I'll introduce you to a few more. But would you be willing to how much time would you be willing to spend in investigating the rest of the story if it did seem like there was a chance that it might work? Would you spend another hour, another 5 hours? Would you spend whatever it takes until you absolutely? What's that?
I would spend however long it takes.
Okay, so if we spend over the course of the next week of 3 hours of just having conversations, me showing you the rest of it, I'm going to ask you to be 100% present if you can, as close as 100% present during our conversations. Because again, remember what the answer is. The ultimate answer that you always have control over is what?
No.
Exactly. So do you feel comfortable in that?
I do.
Excellent. Do you feel comfortable that you could always ask questions about what's currently happening? Because here's the thing. There will be language that you're not used to hearing. There will be things that we talk about that we use in nomenclature, normal conversation that you probably have not heard before. And I don't want you to sit there and act like you know what it means, because that'll ruin this whole thing. Would you be okay with saying, hey, I don't know what that means?
Yes, sir.
So do me a favor, say those words. Say, hey, I don't know what that means.
Hey, Mr. Stein, I don't know what that word means.
Okay, awesome. See, we already got this going. How are you feeling so far? Let me do a quick check-in with you. Is this worth spending 3 more hours to learn about what we're doing?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm very curious. I'm very curious.
Now, if it was doing more, do you know how much your current company that you work with does in annual sales?
No, sir.
Okay. So if your company was doing 100 million a year in sales, would you think your company's pretty stable?
Yes, sir.
For the most part. The team that you work with, the management team you work with at your job, do you like them all? Or is there a couple people who stand out as you wouldn't want to go to lunch with them?
There are a few people I would stay away from.
So if you met a team of people who you absolutely liked all of them, that would be odd, wouldn't it?
That would be a very refreshing change of pace.
It would be refreshing, but it would be odd, wouldn't it?
Yes, sir.
So if I introduce you to people that you like almost every one of them, that would be an okay thing, wouldn't it?
Yes, sir.
And if these people were working on personal goals, family goals, investment goals on their own outside of the company, right? everybody that you work with right now at your job, they're probably trying to do things to make their income a little bit better, a little bit stronger. They probably have 401ks, IRAs, and things like that, don't they?
Yes, sir.
So they probably also want to try to figure out how to make their life a little bit better with the income they get from their job, don't they?
Yes, sir.
So if I introduce you to some people who are doing things outside of the opportunity that I have to offer, you probably want to pay attention to them too, wouldn't you? If they're creating success that you're looking for.
Yes, I would.
So if I introduce you to some of those people as well who are building things outside of our company, our business model, whether it be in real estate or they're doing international trading or they're doing international investing, they get to travel. They get to do some things that we don't normally do that we think is kind of a dream lifestyle. And they show you that it's real. That would be okay, wouldn't it?
That would be.
Okay. So are you okay with moving forward with the 3-hour commitment over the course of the next week, maybe week and a half to have this conversation?
Yes, I am.
Cool.
That was wonderful. That was beautiful because I know for a fact that we're not going to have the next, 3 hour or for the next week with 3-hour talks, but I'm actually interested and curious about what would be to come. So that's amazing. I'm serious. That's amazing.
Well, again, you gave me a little bit of the mindset of the region. And in that region, there's limited possibilities. So I can't always. How many of you? Listen, I'm gonna be a little raw right here, as raw as I ever get. None of y'all would have ever been able to meet me. I would have never been able to meet y'all had it not been for this profession. Right? If I was a president of a company, if I was running Murphy Holdings as a traditional business, I wouldn't want you in my business. You're competition. But this profession allows me to have a conversation with 75 of you who I would have never, ever met had it not been for this business model. So guess what, Trey? You get to leverage me. Hey, listen, I know it's going to seem strange, but we get on a call with a guy from Dallas, Texas, who is not in our business. You want to know the power of this industry of MLM, mentors leading mentors? This power of this industry is we get on a call every morning at 8:30 our time, or 7:30 our time, 6:30, he's in Dallas. And this guy with 22 years experience, a 3-time best-selling author, gives us the best he's got. At least I think it's the best he's got, because if he's holding back, holy crap, he's got some more stuff. But that's the power of this profession. So if you want to learn how to get out of your current situation, sometimes you got to listen to people who are not in our situation. Does that help, brother?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Like entering into someone's world in order to lead them out.
Mm-hmm. You know, when we understand what we have in our hands, we don't always have to throw it away on people who don't want it. We don't have to throw it at them hoping it sticks to them. We open our hands up, we open our heart up, and we go, this is what I'm doing. When you become sure in your shoes, it's kind of like faith. There's people who can walk through lions' dens. There's people who can be put into fire. And they open the flame. They open the furnace a day later, and they're in there singing. They're like, "What the heck is going on in there?" Some of you have already been through the fire. Some of you still have lots of fires to go through. The question is will you have the faith to stand in those flames? Trey stepping up this morning and asking this question, that was stepping in the flames because he knows I'm not going to harm him, but I might make him feel a little uncomfortable. So Trey, question number 3, did I take you out of the uncomfortable feeling?
You absolutely did. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I promise.
Thank you, Mr. Sean.
You bet, brother. I appreciate you. So Trey, what'd you learn? What'd you like from that conversation?
I learned that listening can bring all the answers. By listening, people will tell you exactly what you need to hear in order to ask the right questions and allow them to answer their own questions.
Yeah. See, I've said this from day one. For 20 years, I've said this. You know what the next step needs to be. As a mentor, I know what step 5 needs to be, but you're not there yet. Some of us are trying to make people leapfrog to step 5, and they haven't even baby scooched across the floor yet. So they know the next step. Give them a chance to baby scooch.
Okay.
So there you go.
Last, I'm not sure if you ever seen.
Hang on, repeat that, Trey. One of us is breaking up.
Sorry, Will Smith has a movie called Hitch, and
Yes.
he touched on was a point in it that, you know, really touched on everything that you just said. He said his job wasn't to make women fall in love with men. It was women into getting out of their own way.
Yep. And one of the biggest things that he used was humor. And my bride, that's one of the biggest reasons my bride fell in love with me, is because I made her laugh. And when she got to know the rest of me, she really started laughing.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sean. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Trey. Love you, brother. And I know you're a wildly respectful man. So I'm going to also encourage you. You can just call me Sean. I appreciate you. Love you, ton.
Love you too, Sean.
Thanks, man. Hey, Christian. Good morning, Christian. Let's go to Christian on line 3. Christian, you're on with Sean.
Hello, Sean. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. This is my first time on your call.
Congratulations. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I actually got this call from a different mentor that I talk to almost every single morning about 8 a.m. So my question is I actually just got into my company. And one thing that I've been having trouble with and hearing a lot when I talk to people is the term pyramid scheme.
Yep.
And in my head, a pyramid scheme is kind of like what a job is, a 9-to-5 job is, because you start out as an employee, and above you, you kind of have a general manager, you have a regional manager, and it kind of keeps going up from there. And with my company, it's not a pyramid scheme. It's not a get rich quick scheme. And I'm just kind of trying to figure out and understand how to get rid of that term in a sense.
So
because that is such a big term that comes up consistently.
And am I saying your name correctly? The sound of somebody's name is always very important. I will make sure.
It is Kristen. It's almost like Christian, but with the T-E-N instead of I-A-N. Yes.
So Kristen, good morning, Kristen. So Kristen, here's the challenge when you start to have a conversation with somebody who says a pyramid scheme. It would be like me sitting with you right now and having a conversation going, oh my gosh, Kristen, let me tell you, there's these things out there that are called women, and there's some of them that are just absolutely the worst, but we're not that. And you're like, wait a minute, you just said, well, and they can't get away from it. Once they've bitten into that thing, you're now going to say their idea, their thought is crazy. So if they know the answer to the next question, I'd encourage you to have a conversation. If you're getting that a lot, because that's a lot of what you're putting out. I know you're not meaning that, but if I'm gonna go fight Mike Tyson and he throws a right hand hook all the time, I'm gonna prepare for a right hand hook. So I'm gonna be sitting here like this with my guard up, waiting for the right hand hook. And all of a sudden they're gonna throw. It's a pyramid scheme. See, I knew it. I knew they were gonna say that. Gosh dang it. So what you might want to do is change your dialogue. And what I mean by that, start off putting them in the driver's seat. So I suggest to my students that they ask 3 questions. What I'm about to share with you is my opinion, because you're going to have a conversation with your mentor. You may share what I shared with you, and they're going to go, who is this guy? None of that makes sense. Or maybe they do. Either way, I'm going to share with you what's worked for me and help me build large organizations.
Got it.
Let's make you the prospect, since you know the objection, and I'm going to be the presenter. So and I know this is going to sound weird, but here's how I start off. Kristen, Kristen, thanks for being here this morning. Hey, listen, before we get started, can I ask you 3 simple questions? I want to make sure I bring you value. Is it okay if I bring you value in this conversation?
Yes, it is.
Cool. Can I ask you 3 simple questions?
Yes, you can.
Awesome. First one is, it's going to sound weird, but do I have your permission to bring you some value, give you some guidance?
Yes, you do.
Now, with the help I give you, what can you always say? No, I don't
Yes.
want it. You can say yes. Or you can say no.
Normally you can say yes, but most of the time people say no because they're
Right.
not used to that.
But so let me hear you say no. I just want you to practice.
No.
Okay, good. So you good. I'm glad you could say that. Okay, awesome. Second question is, do I have your permission to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable? Here's why I say that. Before you answer that, let me explain it. If we're going to go after something you've never had before, would it be fair to say you might have to do something you've never done before?
Yes.
And if you
Definitely.
do something you've never done before, does that always make you feel comfortable?
No, it's definitely uncomfortable. It's kind of like a sticky situation in this.
Right. And sometimes in your past, when you were given sticky situations or things you had to do that were uncomfortable, what was your normal response to those things? Did you want to do it?
No, it was a no. It's like, it's kind of an anxious feeling. It's kind of like I want to do it, but I don't want to do it because I don't know what that is.
So then before we go on to, well, so do I have your permission to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable like that? And let me preface this. If you answer this one the right way, I have one more question and you're going to love that question, but it depends upon this answer. So do I have your permission to make you feel a little uncomfortable?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you answered it that way. That's awesome. Here's number 3. Number 3 is, can I take you out of that uncomfortable feeling?
Yes.
Awesome. So now that that's being said, I want to make sure you feel that you're in charge of this conversation. So how long do you have with, and we're role playing, how long do you have to spend time with me this morning? How much time do you want to spend in this conversation if it's providing value to you? What's on your schedule right now? How much time?
It is 7:02 a.m. I got the next hour until my next Zoom call.
Awesome. So here's the point. In the next hour, if we were going to spend that time, and we're not, I'm going to check in like every 15 minutes to make sure that you're feeling comfortable still. At the end of the hour, at the end of the next half hour, 45 minutes, you're going to say, I'm glad I did, or man, I should have said no a long time ago. No is going to be an easy answer. What would make you feel comfortable? What would make you say, yes, I'm glad I spent this time? Why are we here? What would give you the best value in the next half hour that you would be happy with?
Kind of getting a way to understand and talk about the business more without saying the words that would intimidate someone into thinking that it was a pyramid scheme.
Awesome. So, Kristen, let me ask you, if you're going to create something you've never done before, would you want to use a legal model or an illegal model?
The legal model.
Legal model. So is it okay if I present to you the professional side of our business?
Yes.
There's a good chance you've probably not heard the professional side of our business. You know what the unprofessional side of our business sounds like?
What is that?
People say it's a pyramid scheme.
That sounds about right.
So if I can share with you the professional, has anybody shared with you the professional side of our business model? And you know what? With a lot of the hacks that are out there, you've probably not been able to see the professional side of our business.
I can agree with that.
So what do you think a business that's a solid business in our business model, in our business channel, if you understand the hierarchy of success, what do you think a business should be doing? I don't know. If you started a business today and it was doing $1 million a month, would people consider you on the path towards success?
I would say yes, just because people look at it from the money side. But I think that in reality, it's all about the mindset, and it's about building that mindset, not only within yourself, but within the people that are around you in that company.
Absolutely. So if a company's doing 100 million a year, there's a good chance that's from somewhere, from the CEO down, there's probably a mindset that's valuable to the marketplace. Would that be a fair statement? So if our company's doing 100 million, I don't know what your company is doing, but if our company's doing 100 million, 80 million, 50 million a year, 200 million a year, there's got to be some value somebody's seeing along the way. Wouldn't that be fair?
Yes.
So would it be okay for us to continue our conversation, that everything I'm about to have a conversation with you, we're not a scam, we're not a scheme, we're not some fly-by-night company. Would you be okay with listening from the point that we're a solid opportunity, a solid business opportunity?
Yes.
Remember, you have this choice. Your choice to always answer any question or any point of action is to say what?
No,
Yeah. So are you okay with that?
I am.
Cool. What would be your, so tell me why you're here. What's your first objection? We're going to role play now. What would be your first objection, Kristen?
Why are you trying to make money off of me signing up for under you?
Oh my gosh, we haven't even talked about that yet. Why do you think I want to sign you up? Why would I want to sign you up?
Because that's the normal thing that goes on in the world today. People are always trying to sign up other people underneath them in order to make money off of them.
Give me an example.
Oh, what was it called? I can't remember what it's called. It starts with a K and I can't think of it. There's a company who sells health beverages that I can't think of their name right now. They like to get people basically signed up and sell it. And then
Do you have Netflix?
I do have Netflix.
So you're committing a crime then, is that what it sounds like?
And why is that?
Because are they making money off of you?
Yes, they are.
So you're okay with are you okay with people making money off of you signing up?
No.
Okay, let's get your phone out and I want to watch you cancel Netflix right now in front of me.
Oh, I wish I could do that. It's my dad's account, sadly, or I would.
Okay. So here's the next question. Do you have a Wi-Fi account?
I do not.
Okay. So do you have a phone?
I do.
Does somebody pay for your monthly service?
No, I actually pay my dad for it.
Okay, but you're okay with your dad paying for it, and who do you have service with?
I service with Verizon.
So you're okay with Verizon being a pyramid scheme?
No, but I have to be because of the fact that if I want to make money, that my phone is going to be something that I make money off of.
You know how many people don't make money on their phone?
95% of people in the world do not make money off of their phone.
I bet it's closer to 99% if you're going to get your statistics right.
Yes, sir, you are correct.
Okay, so would you be okay? So do you want to be a part of a business model that is like a Verizon, that is like a Netflix? Because remember the question I asked you, do I have your permission to help? It sounds like you're not letting me help you. So we could be done right now if you're okay with that.
No, sir, I would like more help.
So would you be willing to change your opinion on some things?
Yes, I would be.
Remember, you always get to say what as an answer.
No.
Okay, so if I see that you're not willing to change your opinion, would it be okay if I reminded you again?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. So let me ask a different question. Are you coachable?
Yes, I am.
Now that's huge. That's a huge question you answered yes to. So we're going to have some conversation. So understanding that things aren't always the way we see they are, what would a business model need to look like for you that you would feel comfortable partaking in? What would the business have to do that you would say, you know what, I may not agree with it, but at least it's better than what I'm currently doing? Give me some criteria for successful business for you.
Culture being one thing, kind of having that outgoing vibe, kind of continuously going, having that family value would be something that would be a big part of it.
You said three pretty big things: outgoing vibe, family value, and a culture. Which communities are you currently a part of that do that?
I am currently a part of IML, specifically walking ATMs. We are the biggest group in Dallas that spreads across the US.
But so remember, we're role playing.
Yes,
You're
sir.
the prospect. So what do you think the chances are that they're part of a community that has an outgoing vibe that does this and does that?
Very unlikely.
Yeah, very unlikely. So if you're going to show them what you're currently doing, your opportunity, wouldn't it make sense that sometimes we can't see what's right in front of us?
That is correct.
So when they come up with that, when they come up with that objection, that's a kindergarten conversation when somebody comes up with that objection.
Okay.
You have to realize that it's a kindergarten conversation and treat them like a kindergarten.
Got it.
So you have to ask them the question, hey, do me a favor. Where do you get your where's your validation for what you just said? Because that'd be like me saying your family's a stupid family. I mean, how kindergartenish can we get?
Yes.
So my question is that when you say that my business model is that particular thing, is a scam, is a scheme, isn't real, what would make something, tell me what makes something real?
Proof of action.
Awesome. So how many people would you like to have a conversation with that have succeeded in our business model, some wildly successful in our business model, for you to overcome your objection? Because listen, we could talk all day.
Mhm.
I'm not here in the convincing business.
Yes.
I need to know, are you willing to look at some facts? And if you see them for facts, then great, we can move forward. And if not, guess what? Our conversation's over. I'm okay with either. I'm okay with either. So what would need to, who else would you like to talk to? What would be the criteria for me to introduce you to somebody so that you could go, wow, if they could do it, maybe I could do it? What would that criteria be?
I would say I would want to talk to at least 3 people to see their success and see what they went through in order to get to where they are now.
Now, if you heard those people and successful, and we agreed that at the end of each one of those calls, you felt they were a good example of the success you were looking for. At the end of the third one, are you ready to get started, or are you still going to say no?
I'll be ready to get started.
Awesome. Why would you be willing to get started then?
Because
it's going to have to change big in your perception of our business, isn't it?
Because I know during that time that they're going to not only explain their successes, but they're going to explain their failures that it did take them to get there. And that's what I do as a consumer want to hear about. I don't want to just hear about your success. I want to hear about your failures as well.
Okay. And would it be okay if during the course of that conversation, they interview you to see if you're a fit for us?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Because right now, based upon my experience, it's going to be a hard boat to turn, changing your mind. Mm-hmm. So I'll invest the time with you, but I'm going to ask you to be open enough to be able to not look for the excuses.
Got it.
My guess is you could always look for the excuses. They're easy to find. Okay. So we'll have a conversation then. I'll get some. So how much time would you be willing to invest in these next 3 calls to see if they're the right thing, so that at the end of the call, you're ready to get started?
Up to 2 hours each.
Good Lord, I hope it doesn't take that long. Otherwise, we're doing it here.
Got to give that person a little time.
Yep. So we'll do it. All right. And then you set up the call.
Yes, sir.
There you go. What'd you learn? What'd you like from that?
The fact that you were constantly reminding me that I'm not being open to it, and that's something that you gotta understand, and that what the consumers kind of gotta understand in order to let them be a part of it is that they do need to be kind of more open-minded. And I understood completely whenever you would tell me you're not being open-minded, like where you were coming.
Where'd she go? You got muted, Kristen. Unmute yourself, dear.
Oh, whoops! I got
good.
unmuted.
You're good.
Oh no! Oh, where was I?
That I was helping you reminding you that you're not being a little bit open-minded.
Yes. So that's that was a big thing. It made me kind of understand understand that I need to be more open-minded as that consumer. I need to get them to be a little bit more, hey, what would happen if this did happen, or what would happen if I did talk to these couple of people, rather than just letting them shut my question down. I would be able to kind of pull more into it and ask them if they would be more comfortable, if they would be okay with me asking them specific things.
Remember, your time is the most precious time on earth.
Exactly.
My time is the most precious time for me on earth. Don't waste it. You're not in the convincing business. We get paid. Every business model that's on here, every company that's on here gets paid to do 2 things. And the only 2 things we get paid to do is find customers and build leaders. I'm not here to convince you. Maybe my personality in the past sets me up in a dialogue. My micro expressions, my general conversation, my general demeanor. The dog could have thrown up on my favorite shoes this morning. I'm going to go out and do a presentation. It's going to come off with the essence of, does somebody smell dog throw up with this guy talking? It's just going to show up. So if you're thinking that everybody's going to challenge you on it's a pyramid scheme, it's a scam, I don't get that question. I don't ever get that question.
Mhm.
Even when I sit down, I don't get that question. Why? Because I don't start off my questions with that being a possible answer. When I talked to Brandon in Biloxi, Mississippi, I said, Brandon, tell me that's something important to you in the next 30 days. And he responded to me, he says, my girls. I said, oh, tell me your girls' names. He said, Isabella and Olivia. I could call Brandon up right now and say, hey, Brandon, you're working hard to protect Olivia and Isabella. He'll know instantly who I am. He will never say to me, hey, listen, I was thinking the other day, I was thinking of Isabella and Olivia and this pyramid thing that you're doing. So you got to find a bigger picture.
Got it.
If you're a hammer, everything's a nail. I'd encourage you to be a little bit more of a chameleon.
Got it. Thank you so much, Sean, for the information. I'm definitely going to be taking that into heart and then taking it into my business as well.
Cool. And listen, the first time you practice it, it's going to suck. It just is. My mentor would always say, your first one's going to be your worst one. So just take your time with it, practice it. I would call some people on your team and do some role playing. Listen, I still prospect today, probably 50 people in my head because of technology, because of environment, because of the surroundings, because of the things that are out there, right? So how many of you prospected last night in your mind based upon the State of the Union? How many of you prospected somebody that either loved the State of the Union or they were pissed off by the State of the Union? Did you prospect anybody in your mind for somebody that got mad at the State of the Union? I promise you, there's probably not one person on this call that in their head had a conversation with somebody that was polarized by the State of the Union last night. I did. How many times have you ever sat in life and everybody was cheering around you, but you decided to keep your butt in the seat and not even clap when everybody else was clapping? How many times did you feel that you needed to isolate yourself from the people in the room? Because last night, isn't that what the Democrats did? I'm not here politically one way or the other, but it was visual that people were sitting down. How many times if you were ever in a polarized situation, what was it that made you guys stand up together, stand up in unity and absolutely applaud the message? You know, when they did that, it was when it was the kids, the guy coming home, right? The sergeant that came home. It was the Tuskegee Airman when he stood up 100 years old. It was when his grandson was talking about being part of the space community. Everybody stood up. So there is always a story. Listen carefully, folks. There's always a story bigger than your opinion that'll get you to move your feet. And opinions are just like that other thing that's close to your feet, maybe about halfway up. Everybody's got one. Find out what that global motivational spirit would be to move people into action. How many times would you ever want to rip up your script of life? I mean, all of these things, they're all there, but if you didn't run a prospecting scenario through your head about the State of the Union, you got some work to do. I know some of you are sitting there going, what the heck just happened? What do you mean? Listen, a lot of people saw that. That's running around coffee, water coolers today. People are having those conversations and it polarized them. You're going to run across people who are as polarized as how Kristen was talking today. And the question is, are you going to jump down that hole with them? Or are you going to stay sure in your shoes and say, you know what, that's a fascinating way to look at things. Are you willing to change that? Are you willing to give up that idea just for a little bit during our conversation? No, I'm not. Great. Anything else I could do before I let you go? You're not in the convincing business. You get paid to do two things: find customers and enroll business builders, not teach people how to open their eyes to the world. That's their parents' job, or that's their job if they're on their own now. Hey, Manny, good morning. We got Manny on line one. Manny in the house.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Manny.
How you doing today?
Outstanding, brother.
Marvelous, marvelous, marvelous. I have two topics
Okay.
I would like to touch on. I'm currently reading GoPro
Excellent.
by Eric War.
Yeah.
And he discussed not doing things first party and
Yep.
doing third party.
Yep.
So my, I guess, concern is when I have somebody on a third party webinar, I feel like a lot of the times this third party turns them off.
Okay.
And I feel it kind of does more bad than good sometimes.
Okay.
And I kind of like more of a one-on-one, but then at the same time, you don't want to be a teacher.
Right.
So I'm kind of like caught up on the fence. And hearing your interaction with Trey, it kind of like, it made me think a little bit if it's better to have that conversation first and then taking them to a third party where they can get that information after they've committed to being open to learning more.
Awesome. Tell me a movie you like to see. Tell me a movie you've watched recently that or genre of movie, whether it be horror, whether it be action, whether it be, give me a genre, a style of movie you like to go see.
Action.
Cool. And I take you to Disney Frozen. What are you going to say?
Why are we here?
Exactly. That's what you're getting. You're not setting up the movie right. You're not giving them the movie to look for.
Okay.
You're putting them on hoping the third party does it. And the third party can't do it because they got their own agenda. Most people aren't interviewing the new people on the call to say, hey, listen, what would be most important to you? So you need to understand the third party resource, the third party tool. So if we're going to go see action, we're going to go see Bourne. I'm going to find out where Bourne is playing, or Bourne 2, or Bourne the Redemption, or The Matrix. We're Matrix 75. I don't know. I'm going to go find an action movie that then I don't have to do any explanation. But if I only have Frozen, I need to set up the movie Frozen that you're about to go see as one of the greatest action adventures of all time. It may look childish, it may look Disney in style, but there's some deep villains that go on inside of even Frozen.
Yeah, I've watched it.
Right. So my point is that if I allow you to pick it, and here's the thing I would say, listen, Manny, if you could use a tool like Frozen, how many people do you think would be offended by seeing Frozen? Probably very few. There might be some people who would be offended by seeing some of the hard action movies like John Wick, right? I don't know how many times people get shot in the head in John Wick, but it's a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
So some people would get turned off by that. So, but if I can take everybody to a movie that they're not going to get offended, I need to set it up so that they can be intrigued by the movie. So if you and I were going to go see an action movie, I'd say, listen, we're going to go see Frozen. Now, I need you to put the brakes on for just a second. You're going to go, that's a Disney movie. I know, but what I want you to look at is this is a business model we use to invite everybody to see. So if you were going to build a business and you were going to use a third-party tool, wouldn't it be better if everybody could see the tool and let them make their own decision as a business owner? Wouldn't it be better to say, I could put more people in my funnel than I could with a particular very high blood-filled action movie that you and I both like? But wouldn't it be easier if I could bring the single mom to see the movie Frozen and she looks at our business model and says, I could do this. I could do that. Wouldn't that make a good business model?
Yes, it would.
Now you set up the third party story, whatever that is, however that is, so that they can see it as the simple next logical step for them to build a business. Now, if I'm looking for a customer, I have a different story about a customer. This is why it's valuable to each one of you to understand the bucket you're about to put somebody in, and that they know what bucket they're going in so that they can look for that. Because if you let me borrow your car, Manny, and I called you up and said, Manny, dude, I hope you got insurance. I got insurance because, man, I put a ding in your car and I'm so sorry. I feel terrible. I don't even want to drive over to bring the car back to you because you're probably not be my friend anymore. And you're like, holy crap, what the hell happened? And I go show you where a stone hit the windshield and there's a nick up in the top right-hand corner that it's a little star. You can't even see it. You're like, dude, there's nothing wrong with this. But I set you up to look for this amazingly horrible thing that there wasn't there. Therefore, in comparison, in the law of comparison, you go, that's nothing. when you set somebody up to bring them to a third party, they're going to use the law of comparison to have a conversation about that tool. You just need to set it up so that when they see it, they go, oh, this is exactly what Manny set me up for. This makes sense. I can see how I can now use this tool. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
I typically do it in reverse. I have the
how's
conversation
that working
after.
for you?
Not too well.
Then wouldn't worry about it anymore.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's just like a toss up, like between not being a teacher and then, but yeah, that's setting them up. It makes a lot of sense.
And then there's always the two questions that you've heard me ask both Trey and Kristen, is that what'd you learn, what'd you like? Not what'd you think of that. Listen, 1% of the population think, 2% think they think, the other 97% would rather die than think. So when you ask your buddy, what'd you think? And they say not much, they weren't lying.
Yeah.
So that was part one of your question. What's part two?
Part two is I'm very comfortable. Let's use comfortable. I'm comfortable at leveraging social media.
Okay.
But I'm not comfortable. I don't know how to leverage the real world.
Cool.
So like I know in order to get to the next level,
yeah,
I need to start approaching human beings in the real world. But I don't know that approach.
If you learned it, would you use it?
Oh yeah.
Awesome. So how many people can you say thank you to today?
Everybody I come across.
Right, but give me a number.
Probably like 15 people.
Okay, so you need to get in front of more people. There's your answer. 15 people ain't a lot to interact with. Now, unless they're the right 15 people. My guess the 15 people you thought of are 15 people that you normally interact with anyways.
That's kind of, sort of.
Yeah, kind of, sort of, maybe, possibly.
Yeah.
You go into a convenience store at all ever to buy a beverage or snacks or anything?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so when you go in, see if you can find the person's name behind the counter and thank them for being there.
Usually do.
Okay. I would say always do, because here's why. When you become more comfortable with finding out people's names, you'll create a connection that they've not had in a long time. So therefore, people will be intrigued with what you do, how you do. See, right now you're wearing a safety vest. Why do you wear that safety vest?
It's mandatory on the job.
Right, but so the company mandates that you wear it so that what?
For my safety.
Yeah, so you become more visible to somebody that might run you over or cause you harm. So when people when I ask you what you do, you say, you ever see anybody in a safety vest? Why do people wear those safety vests? So they can be seen, so they can go home safe to their family. Well, what I do is I've partnered with a company that's kind of the safety vest of investments. And what we do is we teach people how to go home safely to their dreams. See, now you can be proud in wearing your safety vest, as opposed to the company makes damn sons of bitches. I gotta wear this damn thing, and I get fined if I don't wear it. I get in trouble if I don't wear it. Put your damn safety vest on, Manny. Freaking. Now you get to wear the safety vest of investments. You make sure people are secure in their future and that they can go home safely, and make sure their kids have something that they can safely take care of their families with in their future.
That's right.
So how many people do you think you could talk to now going, hey, and you can carry do you get to take your safety vest home, or do you leave it in your locker?
No, I leave it.
Okay. Could you take it home?
Yes.
What if that was your new banner? Hey, listen, you got to talk to the guy in the safety vest. He's got this thing in investment. You need to go find him. He'll create a safe future for you. What if that was now your brand? Not saying it has to be, but you follow me? Do you think more people would pay attention to you?
Yes, they would.
Yeah, so maybe, possibly that could be something you do.
That makes sense.
Maybe you go, the red and white stickers that they put on the back of tailgates and stuff, so that reflective stickers. Maybe you carry those around and you find a way to get a handful of those. You hand those out saying, hey, listen, here's a little safety sticker. I hope your future is as safe as today. I teach people how to have safe futures. How do you do that? Very well. Why do you ask? Good smile. Is this working? You're muted. Yes, you're muted, Manny.
It's working too much.
Listen, we don't have to change the way we are. Who we are is absolutely perfect. Manny works in a truck yard that switches trucks out, and there's the tractor, the yard truck that's running around and backing up stuff, and they've done it 1,001 times. Sometimes they don't even see us, and we're standing right in front of it. It's called accidents. How many people have accidents in their financial futures? How many people have accidents that they have no margin to prepare for an accident that's going to happen? They're working paycheck to paycheck. The only reason they mandate that you wear those safety vests is so that you come to work tomorrow and you go home today safely to your family. What if your responsibility was to have conversations with people to make sure their income would come home safely, whether they showed up or not? See, if you don't show up tomorrow, they'll give you a PTO, paid time off. They may let you use your vacation, but when the vacation and the paid time off runs out, you're done. They may not take your job away, but they ain't paying you anymore for not showing up. I've created a residual income that makes me pretty happy. I've got safety vests all over my damn house. So there you go. Does that help, brother? What'd you learn? What'd you like?
Learned is I guess to have more fun, to make it fun, to make it creative, because I am a creative genius, and I like the same thing. Just the thought of it just kind of makes me smile, because like I could imagine just having fun being creative.
Listen, you all are wildly unique. You all have amazing stories. Start using them. Start having some fun with them. Don't try to be like me. Don't try to be like anybody else. Just be you. Be you. Cool, brother.
That's right. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, man. Love you.
Love you too.
Banks, go ahead and say your first name for me. Dakia?
It's Dakaya.
Dakaya, good morning, Dakaya.
Hold on, give me 1 second.
Okay. So listen, we could have a fun morning going, hey, listen, we're gonna let the white guy pronounce everybody's names, and we could just laugh.
Yeah, it's okay. I get that a lot. So
Hey, so before we get started,
yeah.
Dakaya,
Yes.
2 things. One, I want to apologize that you have to explain your beautiful name to everybody, because you have to.
It's okay.
No. Listen, I'm going to speak to your subconscious. There's something that happens
Okay.
right now. There's a part of you that says, I don't even want them to try my first name. So I don't even want to get out there in the public, because everybody's going to say my name wrong, and I got to tell them how to fix it. And you don't like fixing people. You don't like telling people how to say your name properly because it makes you feel uncomfortable. I'm going to ask you to stand proud in that, and you start to have a game with it and go, I'll give you $5 if you can say it right.
You know what though? I actually thought that's funny that you said that, because before I changed my bio to Forex trader and things like that, I literally my bio was I'm gonna become a household name so that people can get my name right.
Then I would leave it at that, because that's bigger than any Forex trader.
Right. And so I thought it was great that you brought up the point of, people not having their safety net. And so I actually just got done going through a situation like that. So at work, right, I sprained my knee right before Thanksgiving, like literally a day and a half before Thanksgiving. This opportunity was then presented to me on Thanksgiving by my cousin. And at the time, I wasn't really open to that. So I was more focused on like the physical pain, and then like, how that affected me mentally, obviously based on like childhood experiences and things of that such. So I'm going through that, and now like I at a job, right? We're going through change of ownership, and I asked 2 days, 48 hours too late. I was like, hey, can I cash in my sick leave hours? And long story short, under new management, I don't get those sick leave hours. So now I'm injured. I have to be out of work for 2 months. I was out of work for 2 months, and then I don't have sick leave hours. And then on top of that, I had fallen back on bad habits, and I had indulged in my new toy, I guess you could say, which was but you know what? I actually searched it up, and it actually it is legal because they were in short saying that I earned those sick leave hours with my old boss. And since I hadn't worked under that new boss, like I started from zero. I started just as new as everybody else. So I did look into that, I did like, oh, this is unjust and this is illegal, but it actually is legal. So that's where I was like, okay, well, there's only up from here. And
Yep.
so I started, once I got that mental block out of the way, once I finally got to like hit rock bottom kind of on my own, I really started appreciating this opportunity for what it is. And long story short was I had also spent all my money. So it wasn't like I'm used to having a safety net. So now that I didn't have that safety net, it just kind of put me in a corner where like, okay, well then the only way that I can move is up. So I thought of just sharing that with everybody because of how real that was for me. And it only happened November 27th, and I still have to go to physical therapy. So it's not something that I have like completely gotten through. I'm still in it right now. So
So
yeah, I thought that I
yeah,
would just share that. And you know what? I didn't yesterday because I was like, I'm not ready for this conversation. But I had to have that conversation with myself. And then I was like, well, there's like they literally just described me. So that's all I wanted to say, really.
I appreciate it, Takaya. And here's the thing: you now have
Yeah,
an experience that you can use forever. And here's the other thing:
exactly.
guess what? Your team gets to use your story as you build your business as well. Going, hey, listen, our sponsor, a couple of years ago, she twisted her knee and she was off work, had to go 2 months for rehabilitation and still keep going. But the challenge was during that time her company got sold and she lost her time off for sick hours.
Exactly. But
So
you
my
know
question,
what?
go
I
ahead.
it That was something, sorry to interrupt you, but
Okay.
it was I was already looking for my way out, and that just kind of expedited it.
Mm-hmm.
So it for
We wish
me,
for.
whereas right, so for me, whereas most people would be like, oh, this is the end of the world, I was like, I've already wanted to quit this job for a very long time. And I only worked 10 hours there. So it wasn't exactly a big deal to me because as if I was working 40 hours
Right.
because I was able to easily replace that with this opportunity. And I'm able to tell my story on a daily basis through like and start like really getting comfortable with my Instagram. So I actually started doing a Forex February where I'm doing like 20 days of talking about Forex because I missed the first one.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Dakaya, thank
So
you for sharing that story. It brings
thank you.
that. It brings up a great point. If you start to ask people, how much margin do you have in your life? How
Right.
far away are you from having a disaster happen to your family? Are you one paycheck away, two paychecks away? So no matter what I have to offer, if it could extend that margin and give you more space for your family to react and recover, would you be
Right.
willing to listen to it? Yep.
Absolutely.
Right.
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. I also wanted to say that thank you just because the first meeting that I joined in, I didn't turn on my camera, I didn't turn on my mic. It was just one of those things. I have to get acclimated to a situation. I have to like see what's going on before I can be a part of it. So the fact that you were able to make me cry in a good way and
Aw.
like actually make me feel is what I'm thanking you for.
Aw.
because I've had people in my life where I'm like, I've spent 8 years like knowing this person, yet they feel that like they still don't know me. And I'm like, I'm showing it to you. You're just not like, I don't know, like at this point, it can only be you.
Listen, if there's a common denominator and everybody that we have these conversations with, there's a common denominator. Sometimes
Right.
it's us, it might be them, could be.
Right.
So glad you're
yeah,
here.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
We've got Brianna. Go ahead, Brianna Shavers.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Let me turn my camera. Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to get these edges right this morning, so my hair is wrapped up. But I just kind of wanted.
I have no idea what that means, but I love it.
Yeah. But I just wanted to point out something that you said earlier about, going throughout the day and talking to more people and making that connection with them. And I actually did that this morning. I woke up, I think it was like 4:30, 4:45, and I went to the gas station, and there was a woman there that I have not seen that worked there. And but I had noticed she was at the cashier or at the register. And so I walked up and she was checking me out and everything. And I started like small talk, but it wasn't like a real in-depth conversation. And I could just tell like on her face that either she had gone through something or, maybe it was just early in the morning and she's just not a morning person. I didn't know. But one thing I noticed is I saw her name tag. And as I was leaving, I said, or have a great day, Miss Bessie. I hope you have the best day or a wonderful day or something like that. I said, and I could just see her face just light up and I could kind of feel the energy even shift. And so that was something small that, a lot of people could have kind of glanced over in the conversation that you had earlier. But I did want to just point out that point because that's something so small and so simple and something that, I know at least I do it. Sometimes I overlook it and making that connection with people, but just taking that time out to really see that person and not just view a person, I think was the best thing that, I got from this call today. Just taking that time out to be in the now and appreciate that person. Even you guys see it's snowing in Missouri right now. I had to come outside because it just looks so beautiful. But even today, just the fact that people are going and showing up to work. And I just think, at least for me, I definitely appreciate that point because today I'm definitely going to take that and every day into consideration that this person had a choice to show up today or not. And they showed up today and they showed up as their best selves, regardless of what was going on in their life. So I definitely appreciate that, Jim, today.
Appreciate it. Well, Brianna, thank you. Thanks for being this absolute gorgeous gem yourself. And we love your snow sit on top of your hair like that.
Yeah.
You're so beautiful. And I'm glad you're getting your edges straight, whatever that means. So
yeah. We'll have a discussion.
I got my hat on, girl. I got my edges straight right now, so don't you be fussing with me.
2 snaps and a hair roll.
Right.
Oh my God, this is so funny. I love it. So here's the thing. Earl Nightingale said the most beautiful sound of anybody is the sound of their own name. And when people's names are normally called at work, it ain't a good thing. So when you have a chance to breathe into them some life and some light, this isn't about getting everybody enrolled in your business. This is about making the world a better place and you being responsible for it. Period. End of story. If you read the good book, and I'm getting better at least paying attention to the good book, it didn't say he went to work. It didn't say he started putting on his overalls and digging ditches. Everything that happened in the 6 days of effort was spoken into existence. Wanted light, said, let there be light. Wanted to create a difference between the light and the water, and he created land. Then he created man and spoke life into all of this was in the word. Your word has so much power. You lighten somebody's day, you lighten somebody's load, you inspire their day, you gave them hope by saying their name in a way that gave them hope. You want to build a 6-figure, a 7-figure business, an 8-figure business, starting today, use your words. Your words will speak life into existence. If any of you are a mama, if any of you are a daddy, you spoke life into existence. And then it took 9 months for that existence to show up. How, nobody knows. I think Bob Proctor said it to me once, and he said it many times since, I'm sure. But he said, no one knows how long the gestation period is for an idea. Will you keep watering it? Will you be a good steward of your ideas? Because congratulations, where you're at, it's your fault. Good, bad, or indifferent. Let's go to the pink robe lady in East Texas.
Good morning, y'all. I was loving listening to all this learning, but that last part, Sean, oh my goodness. Y'all, life and death are in the power of the tongue, and that is straight out of the good book. And the way you did that to change her world, it was Brianna, is that who that was? And you spoke her name. Y'all should just try it all day today. Everybody you come in contact with that has a name tag, or you can introduce yourself and get their name, say their name to them, back to them 2 or 3 times before you leave their presence, and watch what it does for them. But then go sit and watch what it does for you. It's unbelievable. If I'm having a horrible day or bad day, first of all, that's my choice. And I've chosen that. And if I want to get out of it, if I go and make somebody else's day by saying their name, and not just saying their name, forgetting it, but saying their name in a way that I will remember it, it changes them. And that's where you start creating value. And you've heard Sean say it, and I've heard it 1,000 times. When you bring value to valuable people, that's when you'll become wealthy. And wealthy doesn't always have a dollar sign to it, but ironically, they're attached to it after the other part of wealth comes in, and your heart is shown, and you get wealthy in so many other ways. It's unreal. So that last part, Sean, we talked about that yesterday with me when I was having one of my moments, and Sean had to start going, okay, Rhonda, take it down a bit. I had to think about what I was saying, and I was nexting, and I was not in the moment, and I was speaking about other things. And when I brought my speech back to the moment, and I spoke the way I needed to speak, and I began to speak life, a whole new Rhonda showed up. And it was, it was a laughing moment, but it was so good. So I'm going to encourage y'all, if y'all got anything out of this, I know y'all are typing down the words Sean says. It's not always use Sean's words. It's use the essence that Sean uses. He just uses the words that are normal to him. Grab the essence, grab the love, grab the care, grab the thought of Sean teaches us, but he teaches us with a thought in the back of his head of how can I make them better and make their day better? Not how can I help them make money? How can I make their day better? How can I make their heart better? How can I make their life better? How can I help them get through what they're going through today, whether it has anything to do with work or not? And when you get that point, that's when you will start seeing a change in the people attracted to you and what's coming to you in life. And that is when it gets exciting, because you'll feel a shift in yourself, and you'll feel, I want to help people. And instead of, like Manny said, I want to teach people. And when you start helping people, you become valuable. And there's that phrase again, when you become valuable to valuable people, and all people are valuable, that's when you get wealthy. So if there's anything I can leave y'all with, look at the essence. Go make it your own. Just like when Sean said, I got to get my edges straight. That don't fly with Sean. Irish white man. That doesn't fly. But if he understood what that meant, and he will, he can say it in a way that will help. I see you, Brianna. He can say it in a way that he can use for himself. He just can't say it like Brianna said it. So just a little thought. And I love y'all. I love y'all so much. So always thanks for listening to Lily's Texas over here.
Well, there you go, folks. Understand this, that as you begin to understand your number one asset called you get to share your number one asset, which is a solution. That's all anybody's looking for. And sometimes you're the greatest solution in somebody's life by saying their name in the morning. That's it. The number one thing we all have to offer, each of you have to offer, me, you, everybody listening to this live, everybody listening to the recording, the one thing you have to offer is a solution. And if your solution is important enough, they will pay for it. But right now, it ain't always about the money. Create 1,000 seeds. My mentor would say, you want to become a millionaire? Create 1 million friends. And then ask everybody for $1 on your birthday. Everybody can afford $1. You'll create $1 million income for the rest of your life. Go have some fun. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for spending some time with me. I'm Sean Murphy, founder of Mental Profits, and I'll see y'all where? At the next event. Go leave some comments on this. Follow me on YouTube. Follow that. Subscribe. Say goodbye to each other. Send some love out to each other. Love y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, everybody.
y'all.
Have a great day.
Bye,
Love you
guys.
too.
Love you.
Bye, guys. Love you.
Love my
Have a
misfit
great day,
family.
everybody.
Everybody have a blessed day.
Safety.